So on the left is Rachel Dolezal. She was raised with black siblings. She studied at Howard University, a historically black university. Was president of the NAACP chapter in Spokane, Washington, and an instructor in Africana Studies at Eastern Washington University. And she identified, at least on some occasions, as black. She once said in a newspaper interview that she sees race as a social construct, which is at least consistent because in 2015 the news broke that her parents were unmistakably white. There is the young Rachel on the bottom left. On the right is Caitlyn Jenner, formerly well known to Americans as Bruce Jenner. Jenner won a gold medal in the 1976 Olympics decathlon event at the Montreal Olympic Games and appeared on the Wheaties box, the Breakfast of Champions. Jenner has 6 children with 3 wives and was a regular on the long-running reality TV series Keeping Up with the Kardashians, which I think is finally coming to an end next year. Well, that's something to look forward to. In the same year, 2015, that Dolezal was exposed, Jenner revealed her identity as a transgender woman in this Vanity Fair cover story. What was striking was the very different receptions the two received. Dolezal had some defenders, but was mostly ridiculed. And although, of course, some people said mean things about Caitlyn Jenner, lots of celebrities tweeted their support of her, including President Obama. And following her announcement, Caitlyn gained more than 1 million Twitter followers in a little over 4 hours, setting a new Guinness World Record, which was, in fact, formerly held by Barack Obama himself. Anyway, does all this mean that the metaphysics of race and gender are not closely parallel? Now, Sally Haslanger offers a parallel treatment of race and gender in her paper, and we should start by saying something about an important terminological contrast. So the relevant sense of race in her paper is just the ordinary sense. But the relevant sense of gender is some special technical sense. So she says, I use the terms man and woman to distinguish individuals on the basis of gender, the terms male and female to distinguish individuals on the basis of sex. But then, as she says in a footnote, outside a rather narrow segment of the academic world, the term gender has come to function as the polite way to talk about the sexes. And that is not Haslanger's use of the word. The Harvard biologist David Haig has noted, to quote the title of his paper, the inexorable rise of gender and the decline of sex in academic titles. So over on the left, you've got the proportion of titles in the social sciences citation index containing the word sex and the proportion containing the word gender. And you can see that gender overtook sex in the late 80s. And looking at the science citation index on the right, you can see that although gender hasn't quite overtaken sex, it's giving it a good run for its money. These figures only go up to 2001, so maybe the picture for gender has improved even more since then. Here are some examples from science where gender just means sex. How is the gender of some reptiles determined by temperature? Means, obviously, how is the sex of some reptiles determined by temperature? And at the top, sex determination and gender expression, reproductive investment in snails. What could gender expression in snails possibly be? Well, snails are hermaphrodites. They're both male and female. And gender expression is a matter of whether a snail chooses to receive or donate sperm when mating. In other words, whether it chooses to act like a female or act like a male during mating. Everything to do with sex and nothing to do with gender in any other sense.